For a moment I want you to think about one date. The year 325. The Council of Nicaea. Maybe you heard that it was right there for the first time. In history someone announced that Jesus is God. That it was a political decision. That before no one believed that way. This is a very old claim, and for a long time there was nothing to check it with. But in the year 2005 a construction worker in Israel hit something with a shovel that should not have been there, and discovered something that does not fit this story. Act 1. The man who started. To understand this discovery, we must go back 18 centuries. The year 230 after Christ. The Roman Empire, the province of Palestine, the vicinity of a city called in Latin Legio. Today we would say, the vicinity of Megiddo. The 6th Imperial Legion is stationed here. Thousands of soldiers. Heavy sandals on stone roads. The clatter of weapons. The smell of smoke from campfires. Among these soldiers there is one who interests us. We do not know his face. We do not know his full story. But we know his name. Because he left it himself. Gaianus. A Roman officer, a man of the emperor. And what in those times was something almost unthinkable, a Christian. Gaianus decides to do something extraordinary. From his own money. From a soldier's salary, he funds the construction of a prayer hall. Not a church, because that word does not exist yet. Not a cathedral. An ordinary private hall. Where local Christians can gather. And he orders its floor to be laid with a mosaic. Think for a moment what that means. The year 230. Christianity is illegal. For faith, one can pay with their life. And here a soldier of Rome spends his own money on the construction of a Christian place of worship. This is not the gesture of a man who sympathizes a little with the new religion. This is the gesture of someone who knows what he believes in. Act 2. The women who finished. The mosaic is created over years. This is not work for a week or a month. Imagine artists kneeling on the ground, placing pebble after pebble, each the size of a fingernail. Hour after hour. Day after day. Patient, Benedictine precision. Geometric patterns are created. Fish appear. Pio in Greek, Reba that is ichthyes. But these 5 letters are something more than a word. It is an acronym. Each letter, the first letter of the next word. Jesus Christ, Son of God, Savior. The fish on the floor of this hall was a signature. A confession of faith carved in stone. Invisible to the uninitiated Roman. Crystal clear to everyone who knew. But there is one more name. And it is the one that carries the greatest weight. Akeptous. We do not know how old she was. We do not know where she came from. We do not know if she was free or a freed woman. We only know as much as she said about herself in the Mosaic. That she was God-fearing. That she made an offering. That she bought or funded the table for celebrating the Eucharist. And we know to whom she offered this table. Because the Mosaic says it directly, bluntly, in a language that every educated inhabitant of the Roman Empire understood. God-fearing Akeptous offered this table. To God. Jesus. Christ. Pause. The year 230. Not to a prophet, not to a teacher. Not to the Son of God in a metaphorical sense. To God. 95 years before the Council of Nicaea. A woman in the persecution-ridden Roman Empire orders a confession to be forged in stone, which if it fell into the wrong hands, could have cost her her life. And she forges it without hesitation. The prayer hall lasts for some time. Then history takes its course. Persecutions, escapes. Maybe destruction. Maybe deliberate burying. For 17 centuries, the Mosaic lies underground. Above it grow subsequent buildings. Arab villages. Turkish structures, finally an Israeli prison. And in the year 2005, an ordinary shovel. An ordinary construction worker. And sudden amazement. The Israel Antiquities Authority takes over the excavation. Archaeologists work for months. They reveal over 54 square meters of original mosaic, almost intact, as if time had not touched it. Scholars say it is the greatest discovery since the times of the Dead Sea Scrolls. The mosaic goes to an exhibition. It ends up in the Museum of the Bible in Washington, a private institution, in the construction of which over $500 million was invested. And for many months one can look at it, from a distance of a few steps. Look at the pebbles arranged by the hands of Akeptous. At the inscription that is 18 centuries old. For proof, for years a certain claim was repeated. The divinity of Jesus is an invention of the Council of Nicaea. Before the year 325, no one believed so. It is a political decision. The Megiddo Mosaic does not attack this claim. It simply exists. Dated to the year 230. Forged by a woman who did not know that in 95 years some council would gather. Who wrote what she felt and what she believed in everyday language, without theological disputes, without philosophical subtleties. Not a manuscript transcribed by a monk in the Middle Ages. Not a tradition passed down orally. Not theological speculation. The floor. The floor on which soldiers and women walked, Romans and locals, and which said exactly the same thing as it says today. Her name is today in a museum for $500 million. The claim that was supposed to overthrow her did not survive. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I left for Washington to record this episode specifically for you.